Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Okay, I didn't hit the button. Current blood sugar is sitting at 6.2. Trying to stop getting the glare off it. Used quite a bit of correction overnight. But I went from just over 15, just over 11. But then the rest of the night came down. So, let's see what we're at. Come on. I'll get rid of that. Oh. Current blood sugar, 99% time in range. We still have that 1%. So for 15 minutes, I was above 10. 99% time in range. And below 3.9, I was at 0. The average blood sugar has come down, which is nice to see. Still not totally super, but it's a lot better for me. This is awesome. Today I want to discuss my life as a T1D. Tell you as much as I can, as much as this old noggin now remembers. Stay by and we'll be right back. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Hey, as some of you know, October 7th, 1977, my life changed. I was told I was a type 1 diabetic. Actually, I think I was told on the 6th. The 7th was the first day I started to take insulin. And I can remember taking the insulin, taking my first shot, and instead of getting up every hour for 2 weeks prior, or no, maybe a month prior, I had to get up once. And I slept through. The next day, it was kind of like a whole screen was lifted away from me. It was sort of the best feeling. And after I got out of the hospital, my first year was pretty well uneventful. I don't really remember seeing the doctor. I did not have an endocrinologist. It was kind of like after my visit, who knew we had to go see an endo? I didn't. I did not have a diabetics doctor until about 1984. This was 77. As some of you know, my mother and my stepfather went to Fiji when I was 15, maybe. And my whole life was turned upside down. I was living with my sister. And my sister made sure I had the supplies needed. But that was pretty much it. She was off living her own life. She was 20. And here I was, 15. It was kind of wasn't a bad time. It wasn't the greatest time. So, fine. We went, we did what we had to do. I went to Fiji to see Mom. And my dad was kind of in the background and saying, no, 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 no. That arrangement isn't working. So I moved in with him. We moved into Sherwood Park, Alberta. I spent 8 months there. Seemed like a year, but it wasn't. The last 2 months were awesome. I was out of school, and I was working at a summer job. Yeah, like Dad set it up. But I had a summer job, so I was going to work. I got to my job every day, would come home. I was paid fairly well for the type of work I was doing. I didn't deserve that money, but through this whole thing, I wasn't taking care of myself. I've told the story that I went to a doctor's. This was back when I was still in Vancouver. And I got a bunch of not blood sugars, it was urine sugars back then. And off different sheets of paper. So I got a brand new typewriter. And I thought it would be great typewriting this whole thing out. I took it to the doctor. He pretty well yelled at me saying, you can't make things up and just put them here. And even when I tried to explain, you know what? It just wasn't good enough for him. I walked out of that office and I said, no, I'm not going back. Which started pretty much a dark part of my diabetes. I managed to always have a family doctor, but I did not have a doctor specializing in my diabetes care. I would end up in emergency, and it was Dr. McBride, kudos. He'd always come to see me in the hospital. And that's how we survived. It wasn't until, I don't know the year. It was 89 or 90 when I got sick, and I just wanted to try a different hospital. Burnaby served its purpose, but at that time, there really wasn't a diabetic doctor. I had a heart doctor, I had an internal medicine, but no one who really concentrated on type 1 diabetes. I believe things have changed there now. So I went to Royal Columbian. I don't know why I couldn't think of the hospital. And Royal Columbian, I was in there, and I was pretty well put in there under a hospitalist care. And nothing wrong with hospitalist care. I've had them before. Awesome. This was a little different. The hospital list came to me and said, well, who do you have follow your diabetes? I said, well, usually my doctor. And they said, no, you really should be followed by an endocrinologist. Okay. So I lucked out. I had one of the best endocrinologists I could have asked for at the time. She stood up for me a number of times in my diabetes care. There was a time where I had to spend 9 months at Royal. January 8th moved in to September 15th. Actually, I think it was the 20th. I spent the whole summer in there. And during that time, it was awesome. The care I received in not knowing what my body was going to do. Little story, while I was in there, it was a nice sunny day. I went downstairs, I got in my chair, I went downstairs. I knelt down and I sat back up, and the whole room was spinning. It was terrible. I constantly was feeling I was going to be sick. Never did get sick, but I went back up to the ward. I said, I'm not feeling well. I got back in the bed, laid down, and I didn't really want to move. I kept sleeping and waking up. I was supposed to go to my friend's place for coffee, or we met downtown with a group of people. I couldn't even go to that. My head was just spinning the whole day, and they finally figured it out. I was dehydrated. And oh, that was terrible. But I got like 3 bags of liquid, and I started to feel better by the evening. The dry skin. Anyway, from 2014 to 2023, that 9 years, I went through ups and downs with my diabetes, to the point where I really could be left alone. I had the button to press if I was in trouble. Trust me, Burnaby Fire Department came and visited a number of times. And they were awesome. It's really bad when the emergency people start knowing who you are. So we started looking when we had to sell the condo, because it was my mom's condo, and she had passed away, and so we sold the condo, and I was looking for an assisted living. And it was determined maybe assisted living wasn't the best fit for me. So I was put into a long-term care facility. Maybe not the best fit for a diabetic. Since here, my blood sugars have come into really tighter control. To a day where, as we saw earlier, just give me a sec here, we're 99% time in range. It's a big change. I really sort of got into doing these videos, and I think my video quality has gone up a bit. I don't know, you guys be the judge. There's a lot more politics in my diabetes care, because when I came to this facility, and first and foremost, let me say this. If you're diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, the best place for you is out in the real world. It isn't stuck in a facility, stuck in a hospital. I've lived my life doing a lot of that. But being out here in the real world, you can see how your blood sugars are going to do. I had an endo, Dr. John Hunt, who said that to me a long time ago, and I sort of believed it. So, just had a brain fart, sorry. Pause. So, now I'm in a facility. Is it always the best? And like I said, there is some policies and politics behind the blood sugar. When I came in here, the first thing they said, oh, well, the doctor will be in and discuss taking you off the pump. And I said, no, because when I signed up and said, yes, okay, put me on the list. That was the number one priority, saying, I'm not going to go into long-term care without my pump and without me being in control of my diabetes. I wasn't going to go do it alone. I was still going to have my endocrinologist, still having my diabetic nurse, which I do all the time. I'm in contact with them all the time. I don't see my diabetic endocrinologist every month or anything like that. It's been a while since I saw him physically, but that'll change this February. We're going to kind of touch base with him. Which is awesome. Mid-month here, I'm going to meet with my diabetic nurse. Awesome again. So, I use mobile devices because diabetic neuropathy has caused pain in my legs, and I can't stand for long periods of time. I can't really walk long distances, so I get in my chair and I get to wherever I need to go. I use medical transport, and we get there and we get things done. Am I happy with my diabetes? I still would have rather grown up without it. But, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. And trying to take hold of it every single day can be a challenge. But we do it, and we live on. It's been a long video today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll talk later. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.